Okay, all right, today we're going to talk about the new bandsaw that we brought into the shop. It's called Harvey. This is going to be for working on new wood, fresh wood, hardwoods. There will be no logs, as you can see. There's not going to be wood that's been out in the world and then brought back in and nails pulled out of it and then run through the saw. It's strictly new wood coming through this saw. And the adjustments on here we'll go through them. Some of them are the members can do, and some of them the maintenance team will be doing. So if you get confused or you have a problem, make sure you find someone from the maintenance team. Their names are listed, and you know who most of the maintenance members are anyhow. Everybody should be familiar with them so that you can get some help to set the saw up right. Starting at the front of the saw, it does have a key lock on it. You can use the key to shut it off to stop the power. If you were going to be making adjustments, you should at least turn the key off. On the back side of the box is also the breaker. It sits back here for turning the power off, but you at least want to have the key off before you're putting your hands anywhere near the blade. So when you turn the key back on, it powers up, it's ready to go. You hit the button, the machine's running. To stop the machine, we have a pedal. And it stops. Turn the key back off, that stops the power, so when you have your hands again around the blade, we're not having a problem. You'll see some stickers on the machine that say things like fine adjustments to be performed by the maintenance team. That means it should be performed by the maintenance team. Last Friday, we had the machine all together and we hadn't done any training with anybody yet. But yet we had people over here readjusting the alignment that we just got done doing. So why? Because they couldn't run the saw, but someone had to put a wrench in it anyhow. I don't understand that part. So please don't be putting wrenches in when you don't know what they're doing. Okay, if you have a problem, again, see the maintenance team. Save us some work. Reason I say that is just the table saw directly across from this the other day. They had the bolt or the nut on so tight on the saw blade, I thought I was going to have to go home and get a torch to heat the nut to get the thing apart. We're tightening things too much and we don't want to do that, especially with this machine. We want to make it tight. Okay, all that being said, moving forward, this has a 6-inch high fence. It works out very well. When you're at zero, when you're looking at the numbers, we have both metric and standard English. So when we come in here and we just touch at the blade and we're on 0 on the scale, we are right against that. If you can get a picture of that, it's right where it's supposed to be. Doesn't mean you slide the fence in all the way and start the blade and put some scratches or some digs in there. You don't want to knock off the points from the blade, but when it's all at 0, it's good to go. We don't grab it at the top and jerk it around because you can twist it off of the mount. We work it from down low, so we just move it back and forth. It's just down here. Don't try to roll it over like that. We don't want that to happen. We just move it down at the bottom. That's where it moves the best. Okay, on the front, we have 4 adjustment screws. The 2 top screws are nothing more than to raise the fence enough so it clears the deck. So it's not riding on the deck. It rides on the nylon. So these screws shouldn't be touched by anybody. The nylon's not going to wear out in 5 or 10 minutes. So we don't need to mess with these. They're strictly for sliding the fence in and out. The outside 2 are for the adjustment, this way and that way, to make sure it's straight. But when we look at the saw and we come back here, you can come up here and use the alignment in the deck. And you can see we come right there and it's perfectly in line with the deck. So this machine does not need any adjustment. There's a perfect alignment. I'm going to make an alignment bar that you can drop in there so you can slide right up against it. But if you're not abusing the machine, not throwing some big monstrous piece of wood in there or something, or driving into the fence, everything should be fine, hopefully. Okay, all that being said, so when I move this to where I want it to be, figure out where I want it to be, and you see we have a nice, then when we tighten this, there's a tab in here. Under this roller, there's a tab. So when I tighten it, that's it. I use a finger. It doesn't move. It doesn't have to be this. If you can get metal to fall out on the floor from tightening this, I think you've gone too far. Okay, we were breaking the tabs in the fences on the table saws by over tightening and shoving the handle all the way down. This one is the same thing. You just need a finger. That's it. Finger to open it, finger to lock it. That's all it takes. Please don't do more than that. Don't put a wrench on it. Don't put a breaker bar on it. And don't put both hands on it. Just use your finger. It will work out very well for us. Okay, on the fence, the fence is adjustable. This is also can be a fence edge if you have a small piece of material. 99% of the time, this is the way the fence is going to be. If you wanted to move the fence, you loosen the inside, the fence slides off, goes on this metal bar, and then you flip it down and you go into the other molding to catch the bar, and it can lay the other way. So I can take this fence off and I can put this fence back on in this position here. Again, the majority of the time it's going to be the other way. And on the back of the fence, there's also an adjustment. It has a nylon bushing on the bottom so it keeps the fence off the deck. But if you were going to go to the low side, this would have to be taken off and put here. Okay? So hopefully we won't be changing it around too much. We don't want to see a lot of that happening. I gotta get on the other side where I can see. So we come in here, slides on. There we go. And then we clear and we come right up here, just clicking. That means we're there. That's as far as it'll go. And then again, we just snug this down. That's it. And that's it. And then you should always go back and check your fence after you've had it apart. Make sure everything comes back on zero and we're right back where we belong. Everything is good. Okay. All right. So that's the front part of the saw. Of course, it has an emergency stop, which is a turn stop. It is not a pull stop. Please don't pull it out because you'll pull the switch apart. It's just a turn. Follow the arrows. All right, coming around to the side, I want to talk about the head on this. There's a lock on the back, which is right here. And it says gently lock before using. And gently means gently. If you need to, look it up. That's a simple word. It just means, a little bit of fingers. But the reason I'm talking about this one is you move the head up or down, the head turns a little bit. Can you see this movement in the head? You can see that, how the head will move. So when you get the head in the position that you wanted, the guide for the blades, which always has to be above the fence, of course. As you tighten this, that turns in right exactly where it belongs. And it's not a big turn. It's just a small turn just to snug it up. It's not like this is going to drop down. Could this run with this piece being loose? Yes, it can. It'll still run and it'll still run pretty straight. The head just vibrate a little bit. So we just snug that slightly and that's perfectly in line. If you think you have a problem with the blade and the bearings, let someone on our maintenance team know, let the monitor know. We'll be glad to take care of it for you very quickly so that you can get your cutting done. Coming around to the side and back of the saw, there's a window here in the side of the saw for the maintenance group. This is where we track the blade running across the wheel, the drive wheel. Because if this is open, the saw will not run, so we can't track it. So we can't track it up the top to make sure it's sitting on the tire right. So with this closed, it's now got the safety switch locked. We watch in the window, and our adjustment is here in the back. And again, there's a sticker on there that says maintenance team only. We only want the maintenance team working on this. Not everybody. I don't want you to get out there, next thing you know, you start turning this knob and you shoot the belt right off the tire, and then it jams up inside, and then we have to do some work to get it squared away. The deck on this is movable. And what I mean by movable, it will move to 45 degrees. It has a shock assist on the back. If you want to come around this way, John. There's a shock assist right here. There is a gauge in here, so you know where you're at. There's a knob in front and a knob in back, and you only loosen them a little bit because there is a worm gear in here, and it is done here with this handle by cranking it. This will go up to 45 degrees and will go down to -15 degrees. Most of your cutting work should be done right here. And every time you move the deck, we're asking that you slide the fence off, you put the level back on, make sure it's level, so when the next person comes up, they don't have to follow something where you left a mistake because you didn't set the tool up the way it should, the way you found it. We want it to be the same. So if you move the deck to an angle, you have to make sure you square the deck up. If you have a problem with it, again, get one of our maintenance team members and we can get that taken care of. Other than that, this lever is for changing the belt. The tension is preset. We do not need any help in changing the tension. We have the tension exactly where we want it. We have a mark where we want it according to the red gauge, and that's where it needs to be. Do not readjust our tension. Use it the way it is. We don't want to re-engineer anything. Okay, if you have questions about this unit and how it operates, again, talk to any one of our team members. And one of the things that we found when we were setting this machine up, when you have a piece of material and you're going to cut it, if this piece of material has a hump or it's not flat, it will show that in the cut. So you want to make sure it's been through the planer, joiner, whatever you're going to do, that you have a good surface. Because whatever the surface is up there or whatever angle that's on, it will definitely duplicate that angle when you make the cut. So we want to make sure that we're getting it done the right way. Get everything set up. Get everything you need in place. Make sure you got all the different tools you need ready to go. Make sure your clearance is good. You see it sets right up against the fence. Turn on the breaker or turn on the key. Power's on. Wait till it's up to speed. Also, don't try to set a record trying to cut this board, how fast you can cut the board. Just let it go in there and just let it work. As you can see, you don't need to rush it. You just need to be steady. Keep your pressure on. There's no rush trying to get this done. If you look on the back side, you can see how even the cut is. You look in, you can see there. The board stays nicely against the trim. You don't need a lot of pressure out here to keep it stabilized. Remember at the end, they do like to jump a little bit, so you gotta be careful. And there it is. Thickness of this stays the same all the way. Looks good. Cuts nice and square. But remember, if this face is not correct when you start, it will reflect in your cut out here. So the wood has to be prepared properly for this saw. So when you put it in there, it'll give you exactly what it is here. And this one has just a little bit of roundness, but look at the board. See it out here? This is the edge it was against. And this is a carbon copy of that. So it duplicates exactly what's going on. Okay? I hope this helps you. We're going to be opening this saw up for everybody to start to use this week. So questions, see anybody in our maintenance crew. There's, of course, myself, Scott, Bill, John, Lynn. There's a lot of us out here. Jim, Tim. There's quite a few of us that are available. So look us up, have questions, we'll be glad to show you. I hope you enjoy the saw. It'll do a great job. It cuts very nice, you're gonna like it. Just don't overfeed it. And lathe guys, I'm sorry, but there are no logs or no chunks or no blanks put on this machine. This is just for our finished wood products as we're finishing our project. Now thank you for your time.